faith. Get my sword and my hammer, now it's time to pray. Put on the full armor of God, stand strong against the evil one. Put on the full armor of God, the full armor of God. The worst thing first, you got the belt of truth. Put on my boots, I gotta tell the good news. The armor of God and the shield of faith. Got my sword in my hammer, now it's time to pray. Put on the full armor of God, stand strong against the evil one. Put on the full armor of God, the full armor of God. Put on the full armor of God, stand strong against the evil one. Put on the full armor of God, the full armor of God. Now I think we can stand against every evil plan. Now it's time to be strong. He has won. Put on the full armor of God, stand strong against the evil one. Put on the full armor of God, the full armor of God. Put on the full armor of God, stand strong against the evil one. Put on the full armor of God, the full armor of God. I've heard 1,000 stories of what they think you're like, but I've heard tender whispers of love in the dead of night, and you tell me that you're pleased and that I'm never alone. You're a good father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are. And I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am.
sometimes I go to a church and I say good morning, I go, good morning. And I said they didn't get their coffee this morning. But anyway, it's a pleasure to be with you. Always a pleasure to be with you. I bring you greetings from the 51 sister churches of the United Baptist Association. And I tell you what, God is doing a new work here. I'm excited about what's going on in the spirit of this church. And, anyway, let me go straight to the point because I want to be conscious of time. Because there's much to say, too much to say, too little time. And I'm one to make a short story long. Armenia is a country the size of the state of Maryland. It is surrounded by Islam. On the cover of your bulletin, you'll see a map. You see Turkey. You have Iran, which is Sheikh Muslim to the south, and Azerbaijan to their east is also Sheikh Muslim, but a secular country. It's a dictatorship. Armenia is in a dangerous neighborhood. They are surrounded by Islam. They will not allow a mosque to be built in their country because demographically, if they did, then the Islamists would be in their country and would take it over, actually, because they're a small country. They're on the land bridge, you see, kind of between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. They've been conquered by almost every empire of the ancient world, the Hittites, Alexander the Great, the Nazis. They won the war against Azerbaijan in 1991 to 93, which did a lot for their national unity. They were part of the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union destroyed that is, structurally, you got these empty buildings, the Church of Armenia. Armenian Orthodox Church is the national church of Armenia. But there are empty buildings. Very few people attend there. The basic Armenian goes to church twice in his life. He's taken there and sprinkled as a baby, and then he's taken again, or she is taken again when they get married. Usually the funerals are not done in the church. They're done in the graveyard. So basically the churches are empty. But the thing is, culturally, as opposed to going to mission fields where there is not a Judeo-Christian background, they were the first Christian nation. When Constantine, the emperor of the Roman Empire, pronounced that all of Rome would be Christian, they had already been Christian for 14 or 16 years. They were the first Christian nation. So their identity is that we're the Christians on the block, even though they don't go to church. But they're familiar with the symbolisms and concepts for evangelism that makes it a little easier than if you go to, for example, I've been to Malaysia and Indonesia, where you don't encounter disbelief, you don't encounter unbelief, you encounter disbelief because the news is just too good. It's just incomprehensible. But in Armenia, the goal of our partnership with them through North Carolina Baptist Men at the State Convention, we've been going through them, is that the goal was to establish 25 new churches working in partnership with them. What has transpired is about 7. It's really taken off. The Lord is doing a great work, and so we've been privileged to be a part of it. You see, God is at work all around us. He's at work here in Havelock, in your neighborhood. Missions is going to where God is already at work and just bringing Him into clear focus. Even for you. In our partnership, the Atlantic Baptist Association, I was part of the original teams that went. The partnership began in 2004, and because I was the youngest one on the team in 2004, 13 years ago, I was a little younger than I am now. I recently celebrated the 20th anniversary of my 39th birthday. And so building the church, we were building the 3rd story, and that's where the sanctuary was, and I was the one who hauled the sand and the gravel and the buckets of water up the 3 flights of stairs. I was rich back then. And building that church. Armenia is a country with 78% unemployment. You talk about being in the church, we can't do that, it's not in the budget. They don't have a budget. They basically say, what is God doing and how do we get it accomplished? What does God want us to do? They don't argue about the budget. They don't have much money, period. In Armenia, because they have these 1,400, 1,600-year-old edifices, wonderful stone Gothic sanctuaries that are basically empty, though, a church does not get respect until it has its own building. Here you see a lot of storefront churches that will not work in Armenia. But with 78% unemployment, if we do not help them build their church, which gives them credibility, it probably doesn't happen. So it's greatly needed. The association built the church in Armavir, a church up on the northwest part of Armenia that is on the Turkish border. You can see Mount Ararat there, right across the border from there, and it's really neat. That's where Noah's Ark is, to be there in the land of Noah, and they're very proud of that. A lot of the young men in that country are named Noah. As a matter of fact, they have a lot of biblical names. So in our partnership with Armenia, it was to enhance what they're doing. Americans go there, you're the bait. Because not many Americans go to Armenia. It's not on the big tourist path. The area where the Atlantic Baptist Association has been going is in an area called Nagorno-Karabakh. If I said it properly, I'd slaughter all the people up here at the front. Karabakh is on the Iranian border. If you look on your map, you see like Armenia looks like a standing up chicken leg. And where the handle is, you go down almost to the Iranian border, and then you head over into Azerbaijan to an area that is ethnically, culturally Armenian. When the Soviet Union collapsed in the late in 1989, 88, 89, they divided the political map, and they gave this portion, which has been ethnically, culturally Armenian for 5,000 years, and they gave that to Azerbaijan, knowing it could potentially spark a conflict. Immediately after the collapse of the Soviet Union, in Karabakh, Nagorno-Karabakh is the proper name, they had an immediate referendum, which they succeeded from Azerbaijan and joined Armenia. That immediately sparked a war. Azerbaijan attacked. Azerbaijan has oil. They have armaments. Armenians fought with pitchforks and knives. They did not have much weaponry, but they won. They won the war against Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan is a dictatorship, and they're fighting for their dictator. The Armenians are fighting for their lives and their existence. And so when you're fighting for your life, you have no more motivation. And so they won the war, but it is a ceasefire like North and South Korea. It's not a peace, it's just a negotiated ceasefire. It's that way with Azerbaijan, with Armenia. We go, you can even see the lines, you can see the trench warfare they have going on there. We can even go to some points where you can actually see the trenches, where they're sometimes still shooting each other. Armenians are very hospitable. Their highest value is hospitality. If you refuse their hospitality, it's a great insult. And when you go to Armenia on a mission trip, you eat well. You don't go, I've been in places in the Southeast Asia where you can eat monkey brains and python and cat. But there you eat chicken. There's a lot of chicken culture in the ministry. You eat a lot of beef. Well, not a lot of beef. You eat some beef. You eat a lot of pork, a lot of chicken, a lot of eggs. But everything you eat over there is organic. Lots of fruits and vegetables. You eat like crazy. You come back, you've lost 5 to 10 pounds. At least I did. And did you lose any weight in it? Okay, everybody loses weight. They like that. The food is good. You don't have to get a lot of shots, just an up-to-date tetanus shot. And they're going to Karabakh, where we go. I went to prayer walk that with the executive director of the Armenian Baptist Convention, Asaturn Nehapati. There'll be a test later. Asaturn Nehapati, the executive director, and I went there. I was the first American they had ever seen. That was a strange feeling. 3 years later, I was able to lead a team in 2008, and we've gone every year since 2008 to Nagorno-Karabakh. We have to get a separate visa to go into Karabakh. We are followed by their intelligence services. They keep up with what we're doing. We know we're being followed. And I will tell you that after being at the public school where we go, that one of the officers, I believe I said this to your church several months ago when I was here visiting one Sunday. We go in after school and meet with the principal. And I'll let Sam tell you more about the school and what we're going into here. And there was this gentleman, we always meet with the principal, vice principal, and one of the sports coaches. And there was this older gentleman there that we didn't know. And he said, you know that we have been watching you Americans for the last 5 years. Everything that you have said you would do, you have done, and you've done. We're asking you to please keep coming back. He said, this is an older gentleman, he said, my grandfather told me before the communists took over that the churches were full. And we know that as the church goes, so will go Armenia. You are teaching our children the Bible again. Our children are learning the Bible stories. And you're revitalizing the church of Armenia. So we're asking you to please continue to come back. How can we not? God is doing a wonderful and amazing work to a people who are receptive and want to hear the gospel. You never hear anyone tell you no. They want to hear. Armorville Baptist Church, the Atlantic Baptist Association built that church. It cost about $44,000 to build that. But that was also 2004, 2005 when we built that church. When the Armenian Baptists were looking to look for a beachhead, or a particular strategic city to plant a church, Armorville was one of them. They started, you see these Soviet-style block houses that they have. That's why everybody lived in these 4, 5, 6-story buildings. And they said, well, when the meetings start canvassing the neighborhoods around where we're going to build this church, they felt led of the Lord that they needed to start starting a church in this area. So they went, they said they'll start in the upper left-hand corner and work through every apartment in this building. So they went to an upper left-hand corner of the building to that apartment. This is where, anyway, they knocked on the door and said, hi, we're with the Armenian Baptist Convention, Baptist Theological Seminary. We're looking at starting a Baptist church in this area, and we want to let you know about it. And the two ladies in there started crying. They said, they don't normally get this response when they knock on doors. They said, we moved here 6 years ago, and we've been praying that God will go Baptist church here so that we can go to it. But they go Baptist, they've lived in Ukraine for a while. They went, what? And now God's doing that. Now, that was their very first visit, and they said God's been planning on that. So that's a really neat thing. In Karabakh, where we are sponsoring a fully funding church planter, the Baptist Association, the Atlantic Baptist Association, that's you. We have 3 church planters we are fully funding. That is $200 a month. Will feed, clothe, shelter a church planter in Armenia. $200 a month. My son-in-law is Armenian. My daughter, this has got to make me practice what I preach. My daughter is going back and forth. She went to Meredith College, got a master's at Carolina. I went to State. Y'all have a crossover there. And she over there, and she's married to a professor of the Armenian Baptist Convention, Gaham Badorian. Gaham's sister works a 12-hour shift working on a farm picking crops. She gets paid $8 a day, and that's considered a good wage. So to be a church planter, one, you have to have a seminary degree, and you have to be married, because the Bible says you must be the husband of one wife. And so that's how the church planters, you have to have credibility, you have to have education. And so as we sponsor 3 church planters in Armenia, in the towns of Armorville, Banat-Zor, and out in Nagorno-Karabakh, nobody with Baptist State Convention, North Carolina, through Baptist Men, there's other associations, other churches that go, but nobody goes back right on the Iranian border where we're going. We're only 15 miles from Iran. If we don't do our part, Islam will eventually come in and take over. There is a spiritual battle. So the window is before us now. So that's what we're doing. If we don't help to build the church, it will not get built. So that is what we're doing, and I thank the church for its fundraising. You see, missions, as I said earlier, is going to where God is already at work and bringing them into clear focus. We've been going in this public school. Our first year, we did sports evangelism. We taught them basketball, did basketball clinics, we'd have breaks, we'd share with the Evangel Cube, share the gospel. We would share our testimonies, and they would teach us soccer in the afternoon. Boy, they're good at soccer. And they love the World Cup. And then the next year we went back to school, and they gave us the classrooms, and we did Bible school. We could have 300 children, 4 years old to 12 years old, and 300 children in that big auditorium, smaller than half the size of this auditorium, 300 people. Can you imagine that? All those children, well behaved, mostly. And it's not like here in America, they do respect authority. And they just neat kids, and you see, the best way to make a woman of God or a man of God, you start with a child. And see, we've been there, and these 12 and 13-year-old boys that have been receiving the Lord are now in their early 20s, mid-20s, and they are becoming pastors. And so we're seeing the growth picking up exponentially in Armenia. And so that's what we're doing, is we're kind of, you ever been roller skating, when you go around the curve and you have to hold somebody by the hand and you whip them ahead? And that's kind of what we're doing at North Carolina Baptist here. But the thing is, they're teaching us also. For example, like I said, they don't ever say we ain't never done it that way before, because they're just getting started. They don't say it's not in the budget, we can't do it. A budget's nothing but a paying tool. Don't ever say in this church, well, it's not in the budget, we can't do it. Say, what does God want us to do and how do we get it done? It's amazing when you don't have money what you can do with love in your heart to experience the love of God. So when Jesus in Matthew 28, and you can probably quote this with me, is the Great Commission. He says, Matthew 28:18, he says, all authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Therefore go and make disciples of all nations as people groups, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And surely I am with you always to the very end of the age. You know, even Satan believes in God. We are not to be making believers. We're supposed to be making disciples. Dr. Hadley read earlier, and if you're in the Women's Missionary Union at the Southern Baptist Convention, that's your catchphrase, is about going, what Jesus says in Acts 1:8, but you will receive power from the Holy Spirit comes on you, and you will be my witnesses in Jerusalem and all Judea, Samaria, and to the ends of the earth. It's not either or. God calls First Baptist Havelock to its Jerusalem to be a Christian witness. Here in the Havelock Cherry Point Marine Air Base area. It is God's will for you to succeed if you're willing to take some risks and some chances to reach your neighborhood. Your neighbors know, they see you going to church. They know that God is a priority in your life. But if you don't love them, they won't know that God loves them. If you don't, it's not only good to do, it's not only important to do acts of service and kindness and love and live with integrity, but we sometimes must use our lips and speak the word of God to people that they may become new. God is wanting to make all of us new. I don't care what trips you up, what keeps you awake at night. Because all of us are wounded healers who are being healed by the Lord, and the Lord uses our weaknesses, our ugliness, and our beauty marks and our strengths too. He uses it all for His glory. If you will realize that missions is not a place you go for 2 weeks, missions is a lifestyle. It's what we are as a servant of Jesus Christ, because when you become a Christian, when you are born again, the Spirit of the living God lives inside of you. Now, I learned since I was knee-high to a grasshopper that God is love. What does love do? Love reaches out. It desires relationship. Love, when there is a block in a relationship between someone else, it eats me up. Love wants to reach out. It wants to restore. So if the Spirit of God is living in you, you cannot help but reach out. That's what God is doing. Look at Matthew 25, the parable of the sheep and the goats. I was hungry and you fed me. I was naked and you clothed me. I was sick or in prison, you came to see me. It's being the incarnation that God is at work inside of you. Express it. This world, Western civilization has heard that God is love. They don't believe it because they haven't experienced it. Because we're still seeking the salt sugar so much. We come in here to get our batteries charged, to go out and express the love of God to others. So let us encourage each other. I know in every church there's somebody who believes that irritability is a spiritual gift. You know, you just got to love those people. You know, because realize discipleship is a process. And some people can be a Christian for 30 years and they're still a baby Christian because they have 30 years of consecutively 1 year's experience. Or you can be a new Christian and in 5 years you can have more maturity than some people who've been in church for 30 years because you're being serious in your discipleship. And that's a whole other sermon right there. Missions is God incarnate in you. A lifestyle to be lived. A love to be shared. It is said that love divides sorrows and multiplies joys. So we are working in Armenia, in Karabakh especially. I told you, by the way, that I was the first American I'd ever seen. After about 3 years, we had a pastor, he's a black pastor from over near Bayborough, and they call him in Armenia Chocolate. Because he is, I'll bet while we were in Armenia, well, he was there with us, he's been with us on 2 trips, I bet he had 1,000 people come up. They had never seen, except on television, a black person. And he was a good sport about it, and he is, you know, you have different shades of African American community, but he was really black. And he would just be a good sport. He was like being one of the, like a teen idol or something. And anybody come up and get a picture with him. We stop at a gas station, we get out and get a Coke or something. I think there are 4 or 5 people want to get photos with him, you know, do selfies, because they've never seen an African American in Armenia before. That was really cool. And he's a good preacher too. And he's actually planning on going to Armenia in August just by himself, by the way. Did you know that? Anyway, chase that rabbit. We're in this public school. We use their gym, then we use their classrooms. And I have all these excitement, and things have gone very well. And I say to Astor, well, let's do this, let's do this. And he said, no, no, no. He said, David, just do this much, this much. And if they trust us, the next year, if we do well, we can do this much. And then we do this much. And then, after a while, it's total trust. And when that security officer, the intelligence officer met with us, we knew we had arrived. And the school officers, the principals and vice principal, says, please keep coming back. They have put photos of every mission team. They asked for them. We put photos of every mission team that's been there up on the walls, outside his office. They have put the 10 Commandments in every hallway. They have put the crosses in every classroom. And they are open to the Word of God. And the church is a beachhead. It's the capital of about 35,000. The capital there. They've got 5 preaching posts where they go, and well, hopefully these places are going to be new churches. So you see, we've got a beachhead established where this church has taken off, and we're hoping to see and help fund and build another church that would be the second leading church of Caroline. God is at work everywhere around you, including here in Havelock. What are you doing to be obedient to His call? To say, Lord, here am I, send me. Because as a fire exists by burning, a church exists by missions. A church not involved in missions in its Jerusalem or to the uttermost parts of the earth, which is a lot closer than it used to be, is not a church fully in the will of God. I challenge you. You're a good church. You're a good church. That you can be a great church as you get the mission bug. You get bit by that mission bug. Right here in your Jerusalem, of what you can do and be. It is God's will for this church to succeed if you'll accept this challenge. And this also, I encourage you to go to Armenia. It's $2,500, all expenses. When you leave here, you leave your house to go to the airport, you are fully insured till you get back home. Medically, if you were to decide to die over there, they'll ship your body back. First Baptist Ashburn, they were hit by a drunk driver, and the girl had some broken ribs and a broken pelvis from the accident from Ashburn, and they had to get helicopters and medevac her to an American military base hospital over in Turkey. And it cost, I said this morning, $30,000. It was $50,000 for her to get there. All was paid for by the insurance that is taken out on me. So it didn't cost anything for that for her. And so it is my hope, though, that you will go. The food is good. You don't have to eat monkey brains, anything like that. It's good, healthy food. And you will learn the love of God in another language. What's amazing, though, is when you go, you will come back and say, well, how can I do that here? Just like with the fair ministry. In your church, Deborah Carter over here is captain for the Association for our Fair Ministry. And we have churches that have not done squat outside their doors in a generation. And they have got involved in the fair ministry, and they go back to their Jerusalem and they say, well, we can do that for them, why can't we do that here? And these churches, some of these churches are actually starting to grow when they haven't grown in 20 years. Because missions is a lifestyle to be led, and I challenge you to be the hands, the feet, the voice of God. Thank you, Dr. Hadley, for your invitation, and I'll see you this afternoon for some good pigs.